Hello and welcome to Saxophone Comprehensive. My name is Ken Gowdy, and in this video we'll look at some of the various ways how you can practice scales. Now, practicing scales is important because if you have a good knowledge of your scales, you can play them over chord changes when improvising. Practicing scales will help you with your dexterity, how you move your fingers from one note to the next. It'll also help you with your speed because when we practice scales, we'll use a metronome and we'll increase the tempo from time to time in order to get better at playing scales, playing them faster, cleaner and more smoothly. Also, it may help you with your ear training, especially if you play these scales as thirds and fourths or various other intervals or as cell blocks. In this video, I will concentrate on the C major scale as it will be the easiest to explain and leave it up to you to transpose these exercises into the other keys. So let's get started. First thing that we want to make sure that we can do is to play the scale over the entire range of the saxophone. Start on the root of the scale. So because we are playing the C major scale, we are going to start on the low C. Then go up as high as you can. If you can play altissimo notes, then include them. Then go down as low as you can, which will probably mean going past the root. Then lastly, go back up again to the root. It's a good idea to use a metronome with a click on every beat. Then to make it more difficult, we can vary the tempo of the metronome or the length of the notes that we are playing. We can also change the clicks of the metronome. We could have it clicking only on the first beat, or on beats 1 and 3, or 2 and 4, or only on 4, etc. This will force us to use our internal clock and help us to control the playing of the scale so that we do not speed it up or slow it down. Once we're able to do that, we can next try to play the scale as triplets. Next, we can try and play the scale as a broken scale consisting of 3 or 4 notes. This would mean repeating the last notes of the section that we play. Next, we can try and play the scale in thirds. Next, we can try and play the scale in fourths. When playing the scales, we want to get to the point where we play from memory and it is instinctive, meaning that we don't really need to think about what we're doing, rather it's more automatic. Next, we can try and play the scale as ascending and then descending 7th arpeggios, 1, 3, 5, 7, starting on every degree of the scale. We could also alternate between ascending and descending 7th arpeggios so that it snakes its way up the scale as shown. Next, we could try the same thing but as triads. When descending, we can either play the triads in the form of 1, 3, 5 or as 5, 3, 1. Next, we could try and play the triads, 7ths or 6th arpeggios in their inversions. Once we're able to do all those exercises, then we can move on to some chromaticism. We could choose a 4-note cell such as 1, 2, 3 and 5 and play the cell ascending and descending chromatically. To make the practicing of scales more enjoyable, we can play them over a repeated chord backing track. All these scales will begin to sound a lot better when played at speed, so we should try to aim at increasing the tempo of the metronome and possibly use the tempo to assess our progress. So if you learn all these scale patterns and you learn the triads and the 6 and 7 arpeggios in all of the major keys, that will greatly improve your saxophone playing in the long term, and then maybe later on you can practice these scale patterns in the minor keys. But there are a few problems with this approach. Number one, practicing scales is quite boring and it will take you a long time to go through all of these scale patterns and to play them at pace. And so what will probably happen is you'll start learning some of the scale patterns and then you get bored with it and then you'll just stop practicing and not reap all of the benefits. The other problem is if you're trying to learn these scale patterns to help you with your improvisation, well, the truth of the matter is a lot of these scale patterns you will never use in your improvisation. So as an alternative, what you could do is only practice those scale patterns that you think you would use when improvising, or better still, get some sheet music and extract from the sheet music some of the scale patterns that artists have actually used in a real situation. For example, if we go back to the idea of playing a scale in thirds and we consider the descending scale in thirds, and we look at this line taken from Charlie Parker's song My Little Suede Shoes, you can see by the red notes indicated that this is basically a descending scale in thirds, but what Charlie Parker does, he takes the first note of each of the pair of notes and he plays it as a triplet with the note above, which gives it a more melodic feeling. Here are a few more examples taken from Sonny Stitt's song Lover Man. Well, I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and as usual, if you did, give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.